Hello all, today I'm going to show you how to make your own transfer paper for trace monotypes. Alright, you're going to need some soft pastels of some kind. You know, you might have a variety of colors from drawing class. And basically we're going to crush this into a pigment using like a meat tenderizer, a rolling pin, anything that you have that you can crush it with. Of course, mortar and pestle works really great if you have one of those. And if you have just pure pigment, then you don't need to do this part. But a lot of times, you know, we don't have just jars of pure pigment, so we're gonna make pigment basically. So I got this wonderful blue pastel. I'm gonna stick it into my plastic bag. And if you've ever done like graham crackers or peanuts or something like that, then you know how to do this. Hard to see it. And just make it as fine as you can. I made some black earlier using some charcoal. Okay. Alright. Next we'll show you how to make the transfer paper itself and how we're going to use that. Alright, in this next step I like to use these cotton rounds. But a cotton ball or like an old sock, old scrap of a t-shirt, like an old rag or something would work too. I'm just used to using these, and I just stick it in the bag when I'm done so I can do it again if I have more pigment. But we're going to use this, and we're going to use some tracing paper. You could use notebook paper, copy paper. I like tracing paper because it's thin and you get a nice thin transfer line when you're using it. Seems to hold up pretty well. Hopefully you have some tracing paper. If not, like I said, a piece of notebook paper or something thin, okay, should work for you. And the other thing you'll need is some isopropyl alcohol. It can be 70%, 90%, it doesn't really matter. That helps us make sort of a paste. And so basically I just pour some of that on the cotton round itself, get it saturated. I'll dip it in the bag here, get the pad all full of pigment like that, and then we just start spreading it on the sheet. Like so. And we'll put some more on there. I like it to be more like pasty, so it's a good coverage. And I'll work it into the paper quite a bit. Try to make it as uniform as possible. And again, you want it to be pretty dark. You don't want it to be transparent. You want it to look like there's a good layer of pigment on there. Okay? And you know, if you feel like it's kind of thin, you can reapply it. You can do this with a bunch of different colors. Like I said, you can do it with charcoal. Compressed charcoal works the best. Any of your soft pastels work really good. And you can also mix these colors up. Let's move this over here. You can mix these colors a little bit, and this way you can create your own colors, and just depends on the need of what your image is going to be. But this is a nice way to do what is the closest thing to an ink style trace monotype. Okay, and for those of you, from my litho class or have done litho before, this is basically exactly how I make that red iron oxide transfer paper for litho. We use iron oxide pigment instead of pastel, but it's the same idea. So that gives you that nice Conte red color transfer onto the stone. So this is an opportunity to get that same effect directly onto a piece of paper, and in any color you want. So hopefully you'll utilize this. I'm going to show some examples of how this works. Once this dry, you're ready to go. So typically I'll do a bunch of these and just have them around in different colors. And then sometimes I got to make a color on the fly depending on what I'm working on. But I'm going to show you how to utilize this in combination with also toning your paper, which is going to be a demo coming up. Making a black charcoal based sheet today. This will probably show up a little bit better for you guys in the process, in the video, hopefully. Again, saturate your cloth with alcohol, get yourself a little paste going. Try a little bit more on there. Thicker the better, like you want it to be opaque. You don't want it to look like you're missing spots or real thin. Better off layering it, getting a nice thick coating. And the alcohol prevents it from like rubbing off real easy, It kind of saturates the paper and creates a film that's stuck. That looks great. Alright, let me show you a close-up here. Nice and solid. We'll let that dry. Like I said, sometimes it takes a couple layers to get it that opaque, but you want it opaque like that. You get better results and it'll last a lot longer as well. Okay. Again, considering mixing colors, mixing different pigments, you can make, just like you've been mixing paint, or ink, you could make things a little darker, a little lighter. You can use complementary colors to work together, create browns and tints and sort of that tints and shades, those kind of things. So experiment a little bit, and again, use this alcohol. That'll really make it stick to the page. All right. We'll do a little test of this here in a minute. You can see here, so I've made the blue sheet of transfer paper for our sort of low-tech trace monotype. And we had done a little bit of the blue, and I also made a black one. Like I said, making multiple colors, especially if you make different shades, you could really do a ton with just this process and get some really nice details. So I tape my image down. Like I said, I just laser print one of my images that I created a long time ago that I've used quite a bit. And the first thing I'm going to do actually is use my bone folder here. There's also, if you're in ceramics class, you might have one of those, which is like a little rib, I think they call it. My wife has these because she teaches ceramics, so I thought we'd try one of these. And then this is my bone folder. This is actually a bookmaking tool it's a hard kind of bone-like material that's great for making a crisp folded edge, but it applies a lot of pressure, so it's going to be good for creating some tonal areas using this instead of linear elements. Using a ballpoint pen, this could give you some more of like shading and some mass, some volume. So we're going to try doing the blue mouse, giving it some like actual color with that and some texture. And then we're gonna switch out the papers, and because I taped it down, we'll have like basically a makeshift registration. And we should be able to do like a 2-color trace monotype here. You know, and if you press hard and work at it in a certain way, we can give this mouse here actual like volume or shape rather than just, you know, straight up coloring it in. Let's just see what we got here so far. You know, so it's starting to color it in. All right.